What's up, Cowboys Nation? Welcome back to the channel. Before we dive into today's exclusive update, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe for all the latest news on our beloved Dallas Cowboys. We're always working to improve, just like the team, and we appreciate all your support. Now, let's get into it. The Dallas Cowboys are gearing up for a big Week 8 matchup against the San Francisco 49ers, coming off a much-needed bye week. After a tough loss in Week 7, there's been no shortage of drama surrounding America's team. But hey, what else is new? In typical Cowboys fashion, the headlines have been as dramatic off the field as on it. From Jerry Jones snapping at radio hosts to Cowboys legend Troy Aikman calling out the wide receivers for being lazy, this has been quite the week. Let's talk about what Jerry had to say about Troy's comments and how this all plays into the upcoming game. First off, Cowboys fans, let's get one thing clear. Troy Aikman isn't holding back. During the recent Cowboys loss, Aikman openly criticized the team's wide receivers, calling them out for being lazy in their route running and failing to separate from defenders. Aikman's exact words were, "There's no hustle out there, and the lack of separation is killing this offense." Now, when a Hall of Famer like Aikman, who led the Cowboys to 3 Super Bowls, makes comments like that, it's hard not to listen. His words sting, but they come from a place of love and passion for the team. And honestly, he's not wrong. What really caught everyone by surprise was Jerry Jones' reaction to Aikman's remarks. Typically, Jerry is quick to defend his players and coaches, but this time, he didn't come out swinging. Instead, during his weekly appearance on Sean and RJ on 105.3 The Fan, Jerry actually gave Aikman some credit for being honest, informed, and balanced. He said, "Troy is trustworthy, and he should be. Not only that, but you can imagine he's not interested in beating up on the Cowboys. He feels as much, if not more, for the Cowboys as anyone. He's very professional and very fair." I know, right? Jerry being thoughtful about criticism, it's almost like we're seeing a new side of him. It's rare that Jerry takes such a measured approach to feedback, especially when it's as blunt as Aikman's. But maybe this is a sign that Jerry knows changes are needed and is open to constructive criticism from someone as respected as Aikman. Jerry did defend the team a little, though, pointing out that there are always areas to work on, particularly in terms of physicality, when facing tight coverage. He said, "You can look at what we've been doing, like our lack of separation compared to other teams. But fundamentally, I was talking to Mike McCarthy, and our players need to work through physical contact better." That's just one example. It sounds like Jerry and Coach McCarthy are aware of the issues. The real question is, will they do something about it? Interestingly, when asked about Aikman's criticism, Coach McCarthy brushed it off, saying Troy's words don't hold any weight. Now, that might be McCarthy's way of protecting his players or deflecting the pressure, but let's be real here. Aikman's criticism should matter. The lack of separation by our wide receivers has been a noticeable problem. If you've watched our games closely, you've seen how difficult it's been for our offense to get rolling when receivers aren't creating space. That's a major issue that needs to be addressed as we head into a tough game against the 49ers. Now, let's shift gears a bit to some important injury updates. Jerry Jones also shared some news about Micah Parsons and Darren Bland ahead of this critical Sunday night matchup against the 49ers. Both players are listed as game-time decisions, meaning it's going to be a close call on whether they'll suit up. Starting with Micah Parsons, he's been dealing with a high ankle sprain that's caused him to miss the last 2 games. He spent the bye week getting treatment, but as of Monday, Parsons said he's still unsure if he'll be ready for Week 8. He mentioned, "I don't think there's anything physically I can't do, but they want to make sure I'm at my best." It's tough seeing a star like Parsons sidelined, especially knowing how much he means to this defense. He even spoke about how humbling it's been to watch from the sidelines, saying, "It's tough when you're not out there with your brothers during the tough times. You want to be out there, good or bad, to help build that bond. It's hard to sit back and watch." As for Darren Bland, he's been out since August after undergoing foot surgery. Jerry said that, like Parsons, Bland will be a game-time decision. That's huge news because Bland, an all-pro cornerback, was a monster last season with 9 interceptions and 5 defensive touchdowns. Getting him back would be a massive boost to our secondary. Cowboys fans, we're at a crossroads here. Sitting at 3-3 after some tough losses, especially that blowout against the Lions, this team needs to bounce back in a big way. The 49ers game is shaping up to be a make-or-break moment for the season. The question is, will Jerry, McCarthy, and the rest of the team rise to the occasion? On paper, we have the talent. We've seen flashes of brilliance from Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and our defense, led by Micah Parsons when healthy. But talent alone doesn't win games. Execution does. And right now, we're lacking in that department. If McCarthy can get this team to play as a unit and clean up the issues that Aikman pointed out, there's no reason why we can't still make a push for the playoffs. But if we continue to play like a group of individuals instead of a team, this season could spiral out of control quickly. First off, it's no secret that the Cowboys have struggled in a few key areas this season, and run defense has been one of the biggest issues. We've seen games where opposing teams have pounded the ball down our throats, and when you're going up against playoff-caliber teams, like the 49ers this weekend, that's a problem. A defensive tackle could help shore up the middle of our defense, giving us more push at the line of scrimmage and helping our linebackers make plays. The Athletic's Saad Youssef pointed out that, despite the struggles we've seen in some losses, the Cowboys are still in the thick of the NFC East race, and we're expecting to get back some key players like Micah Parsons, Brandon Cooks, and Darren Bland. With those reinforcements, adding a big body in the middle could be the move that solidifies our defense for a playoff run. Youssef had this to say. Despite the optics of the Cowboys' losses this season, they are still in play for the division and should begin getting back key injured players soon. Even with those reinforcements, the Cowboys have significant holes on the roster, primarily at running back and defensive tackle. If the Cowboys are truly all in and have hopes for a late-season playoff push, they will need to address what they can in the trade market. This analysis makes a lot of sense. We're not far off from being a real contender, but it's clear that a couple of key moves could put us over the top. So, who's out there that could fit the bill? Let's look at a few options. Dalvin Tomlinson, Cleveland Browns Tomlinson, is a proven run-stuffer with the size and strength to clog up the middle. If the Browns are willing to deal, he could be a perfect fit for what we need on defense. Grover Stewart, Indianapolis Colts. Stewart is another strong run defender who could be available. He's had a solid season so far and could step right into the Cowboys' defensive line rotation. DJ Reader, Cincinnati Bengals. Reader is known for his ability to control the line of scrimmage and stop the run, something the Cowboys desperately need right now. He could be a pricier option, but if Dallas is serious about making a push, it might be worth the investment. These are just a few of the names floating around, but any of these players would bring much-needed toughness and depth to the Cowboys' defensive line. A strong defensive tackle not only helps stop the run, but also frees up Micah Parsons and our edge rushers to do what they do best, get after the quarterback. While a defensive tackle seems like the most pressing need, we can't ignore the running back position. Dallas came into the season expecting big things from Tony Pollard, but the running game hasn't been as dominant as we hoped. Pollard's been good, but with Rico Dowdle dealing with injuries and the lack of depth, we might need to look at bolstering this area too. The Athletic mentioned that running back could also be an area to watch before the trade deadline. Could Dallas go after a veteran back to complement Pollard? It's a possibility, but the focus right now seems to be on the defensive side of the ball. Look, I know Cowboys Nation has been frustrated with some of the losses this season, but let's not lose sight of the big picture. We're still very much in the hunt for the NFC East and a playoff spot. The negativity might make it feel like we're 1-5, but at 3-3, we're at .500 with plenty of football left to play. Getting back key players from injury is going to be huge, and if we can make the right moves at the trade deadline, we could be looking at a very different team heading into the back half of the season. There's no need to panic just yet, Cowboys fans. We've got a massive game coming up against the San Francisco 49ers this Sunday, and that will give us a much better idea of where we stand. So, now it's time to hear from you. What are your thoughts on Troy Aikman's criticism? Do you think he's right about the receivers being lazy? And how do you feel about Jerry Jones' response? Was it refreshing to see him take the criticism in stride, or do you think he's not doing enough to hold this team accountable? Also, with Parsons and Bland possibly coming back, do you think their return can spark this defense and help us get back on track? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm reading through them all and want to know where you stand. And don't forget, if you enjoyed this video, Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more Cowboys content. We've got plenty more to talk about as the season goes on, and you won't want to miss a thing. Thanks for watching, Cowboys Nation. Let's stay hopeful and see if we can turn things around. Go Cowboys!